half a day, Tiro. Today is Thursday, June 25th at about 10:10 a.m. here in the House Chamber. Today we have our Judiciary and Governmental Operations Committee meeting. And before I begin, I'll introduce the members to the public. To my left, we have our Vice Chairman, Representative Blas Jonathan Attal. To my bottom left, we have our Floor Leader of the House of Representatives, Representative Marissa Flores. And to her left, we have our Vice Speaker of the House, Representative Vincent Diego Samacho. And to his left, we have our Chairman of the SNIO and Chairman of our Ways and Means, Representative John Paul Sablan. To my bottom right, we have Representative Joseph Flores. And to his right, we have the Chairman of Infrastructure and Transportation Committee, Representative Vincent O'Donnell. And before us, we have our LB staff. We have Mr. Delbert Camacho, our IT, our House Legislative Assistant, Mr. Nick Rubaliman, and welcoming on board our new, who's always been in the Legislative Bureau, our new legal counsel for the House, Ms. Counsel Joe Bermudez. Welcome, Counsel, and thank you for attending our committee meeting. And moving forward on our agenda, with that mentioned that we do have the necessary number of members present today to conduct our committee meeting. And before we proceed to item 2 under our agenda, can I have a motion to, and before we adopt the motion to adopt our agenda, I'd just like to make note to the members of the committee that we have stricken out certain items in our agenda, which is under new old business, item 5, as these are already circulating for committee reports. Item 7, item 8, item 9, item 10, item 14, and item 15 was moved to new business. Item 16 was moved to new business. So that is our agenda before us today. Can I have a motion to adopt today's agenda? There's a motion to adopt today's agenda, and it has been seconded. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Our agenda is hereby adopted. Thank you, members. And then moving forward in our order of business, under public comments, being that there looks like there's none, we will move forward to our next order of our business under old business. And before we proceed, I'd like to recognize the presence of Representative Julie Ogo from the 1st Senatorial District. Thank you, Madam Colleague, for attending today. And then under old business, item 1, we have before us House Bill 24-52, an act to strengthen current domestic and family violence laws to ensure the protections of women and children, and to recognize and penalize digital and electronic harassment as acts of domestic and family violence and for other purposes. And before I open the floor to the members, I'd like to recognize the author of this legislation. I recognize you, Madam Floor Leader.
Thank you, Chairman. And I know at the last meeting we had, I had put on the record that we would table this pending further discussion with Council. And I am asking the body to once again allow me to, with its approval, to table this because there's certain language that still needs to be updated with Council. Thank you. I move to table if the body supports that. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Floor Leader. And before we move to table, I'd just like to make mention that we did receive comments from the Public Defender, Office of the Public Defender, the Northern Marianas Coalition Against Domestic and Sexual Violence, Carrie Dot, and the Department of Public Safety. And then we have an email communication. I believe that was also submitted to the committee. I'm not sure if you have that before you guys. If not, I can have my secretary disseminate that to you all. Thank you. And with that said, there is a motion to table House Bill 24-52 pending additional work on the legislation, and it has been seconded. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. House Bill 24-52 is hereby tabled. Thank you, members. Moving forward on our next item on our agenda, we have House Bill 24-55, to amend the penalties for illegally parking in spaces designated for persons with disabilities by strengthening and enforcing clear penalties for violation and repeat offenses by ensuring accessible parking for persons with disabilities and for other purposes. And again, I'd like to recognize the author of the bill. Recognize Madam Floor Leader.
Thank you, Chairman. And I believe at the last meeting we had, Rep. Aquino was here, and we had some discussion about the intent of the bill and maybe some issues. And as of today, I have not met with DPW to see if the signage for the ordinances have been available in order to enforce this. And because of that, I am now asking that this body also allow me more time as I start that deliberation and conversation with DPW to strengthen the bill, and also discuss with Rep. Aquino if he has any other amendments that he'd like to see. So I'm asking this body to please, and you, Chairman, to approve tabling this pending more discussion with Rep. Aquino and DPW.
Thank you, Madam Floor. There's a motion to table. Do I hear a second? And it has been seconded. All those in favor to table House Bill 24-55, say aye. Those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. House Bill 24-55 is hereby tabled. Thank you, Madam Floor Leader. And in our next order of business, we have House Bill 24-61 to enact a new Chapter 5 to Title I, Division 8, Part 1 of the Commonwealth Code to establish dedicated funding and a special account for the Civil Service Commission to provide a pro rata collection, certification, and transfer mechanism of funds, to authorize a continuing appropriation and expenditure authority, and to require reporting and legislative oversight. Before I open the floor, I'd also like to, the author is not here today, so I'll just open the floor for discussion. Discussion, members. Recognize Representative John Paul.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Are there any other government agencies other than what we received from the civil service? Apparently, of course, civil service supports such source of funding, right, so that they can operate and do their duties with regards to appeals and whatnot. But are there any other government agencies that you have solicited comments other than Civil Service Commission? And are we still pending to receive those?
Thank you, Representative Sablan. We did reach out to the Attorney General's office. I think that, and I believe the Public Defender's office, we reached out to them. We have yet to receive any comments from those respective requests. If the committee would like, we could await for further comments. But what I recall from our last meeting was to await for any comments to come in, and I think most importantly was the comment from Civil Service Commission, and we have received that. So if the committee would like, we could hang on to this bill if that's what the committee recognized. Vice? My apologies.
Yeah, I was gonna, thank you, Chair. I was gonna actually request that we have more time as a committee, and if it's not too much to ask, if we can perhaps utilize our fiscal analysis to kind of give a synopsis to this August body on like how much are we actually proposing to collect with this funding proposal under this proposed legislation that's going to be given to civil service. That would be very helpful for this August body to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Rep. Sablan. That's a very good recommendation. Yes, the committee can reach out to Mr. Cameron Nicholas to see if he can reach out to the Civil Service Commission and compile that information for us, if that's what you would like. Okay.
Chair,
Recognize Vice, sorry.
thank you, Chairman. I'm in line with Rep. Sablon, I think it's important that we have our fiscal analyst here, not necessarily with the civil service or OPM. I think the fiscal impact, we should at least get that as calculated right now with our current budget, and see how that impacts the FY 27 budget that's actually before us as a legislature, so that we can see that, because if we don't do this in the budget and this act happens right after the budget, then they would start cutting. So I think we should get a true fiscal impact of the effects of this legislation. It's a good legislation. I think it's important that we have some dedicated funds for the Civil Service Commission to do its job and to hear these cases that are before them. But and then with that, we need to get the fiscal impact in our current financial situation and moving forward to the FY 27 budget. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Vice. So your recommendation would be to also have our fiscal analyst reach out to the Department of Finance?
I think just on the current budget, as I think it's 24-24 or something, right? That's our current budget that we're working on right now. I think that we should look at that and just look at the fiscal impact based on our current budget. And with the package that's here from the administration, what's the fiscal impact based on that 40-hour work week? If the impact's going to make it 36 hours or 34 hours, that's again another impact to our government employees. So I think we need to really review the fiscal impact on this specific measure, and maybe look at other alternative sources of funds that are available through special accounts that we can divert in the budget to assist with this legislation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. Both very good recommendations, and thank you, Rep. Sablon. With that said, I will have the committee work with our House Fiscal Analyst to compile this information for us. With that said, is there a motion to table House Bill 24-61 so that we can have that work done? There's a motion to table House Bill 24-61, and it has been seconded. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. House Bill 24-61 is hereby tabled. And I will reach out to our House Fiscal Analyst to get this started. Thank you, members. Under our next order of business, we have House Bill 24-66 to regulate advisory and consulting engagements with the Commonwealth by requiring compliance with procurement laws, Attorney General approval, and public auditor oversight to impose a $50,000 per cap per engagement, to establish priority qualifications, to void non-compliant contracts, to provide remedies and penalties for violations, and to sunset this act for after 5 years. And before I open the floor for discussion, I recognize our author again, Madam Floor Leader.
Thank you. Chairman, can I call for a short recess, please?
Short recess.
Thank you.
committee meeting, and thank you for that discussion. Before we proceed, I will just hand the floor over to our good floor leader to go over the amendments. So members, if you can just follow along. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you for allowing the discussion. At this time, I'd like to offer an amendment, and if you can just follow me on the screen. Obviously, on the caption, I like to strike out "and the public auditor." And then on that page, on the section 2, facts and findings, on line 7, beginning with "and the office of public auditor" all the way to line 9, period, there is a strikeout as well. And then on page 2, on lines 18 to 20, after the public auditor period, those lines are also striked out. In addition to that, we see on line 6, section 102, consultant engagement services, letter A, line 8, but line 7, it begins "the Secretary of Finance or designated department." Designated department head has been stricken out, and the language, the word "designee" has been there for a replacement. Also on sections 112, lines 14 all the way to 21, that is also striked out on page 11. And section 113, striked out. Beginning on the next page, line 1s all the way through 2 has also been stricken out. And that, Chairman, is the amendments that I'm offering to the body. So move.
There's a motion to amend House Bill 24-66, and it has been seconded. All those in favor of that motion to amend House Bill 24-66, which will now be in the form of House Draft 1, say aye. Those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Amendment is hereby adopted. Then we're back to our main motion, whether or not we would draft a committee report for the passage of House Bill 24-66, now in the form of House Draft 1. Discussion. Thank you, members. There's can I get a motion to recognize Vice?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Motion to pass House Bill 24-66 in the form of House Draft 1 and to proceed with the committee report for the full body to decide on the legislation. So move.
Thank you, Vice. There is a motion to adopt House Bill 24-66, House Draft 1, for the passage in our next session, and to facilitate or to furnish a committee report for its passage, and it has been seconded. All those in favor of that motion say aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion carries. House Bill 24-66, House Draft 1 is hereby adopted for the passage on our next committee report or session. Thank you. Next on our order of business, we have before us House Bill 24. Sorry, members, if you remember in the beginning, I mentioned about the amending of our agenda, and so we are now before us. We have House Bill 24-78 to amend Title 4, Economic Resources, Division 6, Banking and Financial Institutions of the Commonwealth Code, to give the banking director authority to regulate digital asset businesses and for other purposes. And members, before I open the floor for discussion, I'd just like to make mention that during I have notes here from our last committee meeting that there was a discussion to merge, or there was a compromise to merge between the author and our floor leader, that they would have a bill that we'll be working on. I recall, Madam Floor Leader, you had a bill, similar bill that you wanted to have him, recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. And yes, based on that last meeting we had, I did provide the needed information as promised to Rep. Aquino. And I know that Rep. Aquino has also been tied up with village projects, and we have not met since after the typhoon. While I do understand the urgency of the bill and the request by the banking director, the acting banking director, I just don't feel that I'm comfortable without moving forward without any discussion with my counterpart from Precinct 2, who is the author of the bill, and which I'm now conjoining what I have with his. So because he's not here, can I request for further meetings with my counterpart so that we can come up with a bill that actually works for both parties? And then maybe we can also meet once again with the acting banking director. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Floor Leader. And the author of the legislation actually also messaged me that requesting to be excused for today's committee meeting. So with that said, so is there a motion to table? Recognize Vice Chairman?
Thank you, Chairman. I know that in the last meeting we provided a draft HD1 version with the changes. Is this the? I know that we're still on 2478, but this was a version that was worked on for both Floor Leader and Rep. Aquino. Is this the version that you guys are going to be working off of? Obviously, it's not going to show until we vote on it to make it a draft one, but there's some changes already from the previous original legislation. So I guess maybe Council Carey was working in advance as per the conversation that we had in the last meeting. So I have no objections with Floor and Rep. Aquino getting together and fixing the legislation, but just so that we have a track of the documents, so we follow the changes moving forward, because the version that we have before us already has some changes already on it, and but we're still under 2478. And I know that the council pulled up the original legislation, but what we have here was something that we were working on as an amendment in the previous meeting. So that's all. I just wanted to bring that up so that Floor Leader and Rep. Aquino know that there's already a working document for both of them to. No? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Vice. And before I recognize Representative Sablan, I do want to make mention that nothing was adopted on our last committee meeting. It was a working draft. You are correct, Vice. And with that said, you're recognized, Representative
Yeah.
Sablan.
Thank you. Sorry, Chairman, just wanted to ask if I can be given that working draft. Sorry, I don't have it with me. Just want to have the opportunity to take a look at it. Thank you.
Vice, do you have the copy of the working draft? Short recess. meeting. We left off on a discussion under House Bill 24-78. And Madam Floor Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chairman. And I know that our great colleague from Precinct 2 had come up with this legislation. And at the last session, we had, in discussion, we had found that we are working on similar legislations, and we had agreed that we would be working together to come up with a comprehensive bill that complements both his bill and the language in the bill that I also had. And with that said, I am asking that we table that, because part of what I wanted to incorporate into this were the consumer protection clauses as it relates to digital assets. And I think that's important, considering a lot of the new cases that have been in the news on the federal level. And so with that, I ask that the chairman and this body agree to table. And I'd really like to sit down and talk to Rep. Aquino and get more feedback from him. This is a dual legislation that we want to work together on, and I'm sure that he wants to champion this with the right language. So if we could table and then allow us more time to talk to council.
Thank you, Madam Floor Leader. There's a motion to table House Bill 24-78, and it has been seconded. All those in favor of that motion say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. House Bill 24-78 is hereby tabled for further discussion. Thank you, members. And then on our next order of business, being that we have House Bill 2483, House Bill 2485, House Bill 2494, House Bill 2499 are currently being routed for committee reports, and I thank you, members, for signing that. That will be prepared for for the incoming session. And moving forward, we have on our next item under our agenda, we have Senate Bill 24-05 to establish a fire reserve corps to assist the Department of Fire and Emergency Medical Services, DFEMS, and the Commonwealth Ports Authority Aircraft Rescue and Firefighting, CPARF, in fire prevention and suppression, rescue operations, basic and advanced life support, and for other purposes. And members, before I open the floor for discussion, I do like to make mention that the Vice made a concern. And if you can go to the legislation under page 3, lines 3, 4, 5, 3 to 5, subsection 811, emergency essential employees, reserve firefighters shall be considered key and emergency essential employees performing key and emergency essential functions during times of natural or man-made disasters or any catastrophic events. Our Vice raised a concern regarding even just the payments of overtime and other such matters. So with that said, I just wanted to raise that issue up, and I would like to open the floor for discussion, and I recognize Representative John Posablan.
Thank you. I agree with that, Chair, the concerns by the Vice, but there is also other concerns. I know that although the Commissioner of Defense fully supports the proposed legislation, he has actually asked through his solicited comments to provide provisions also for rulemaking authority so that they can promulgate rules and regulations for such implementation of a reservists for defense and also for the Commonwealth Ports Authority Aircraft Rescue. If you can see at the proposed Senate bill on page 3, it spoke about under line 12, subsection 806, reservist rules, right? And it's very general that it states, CNMI FRC personnel shall be subject to all lawful rules and regulation as may be promulgated by the CNMI Defense Commissioner, adhere to standard operating procedures, protocol, policies, and directives if established. I know that that provision is there that talks further about rulemaking authority, but I just think that we should add a provision that allows that, the commissioner promulgate rules when they feel need to be in a case-by-case basis, as this kind of approval of allowing reservists to our government is something that it's going to be new to the Commonwealth. Just wanted to add that concern to as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Sablan. Recognize Representative Valdan.
I know that what do you call that is the which is a great thing because mula lo kigi San Lago na isti na klase no programa ni komunidad na ni man baba volunteer no especially i offer niya like the retirees that they just don't want to sit down at home and twiddle their thumbs, so they volunteer their service at least to take care of Taguig Fire Department vehicles. They do the maintenance, building cleaning, while everybody else go out there. But I also do know, I am registered na GE on there's like for example FEMA, no, and EPA. They have actually a list on the national registration website that if you have like certain skill set, that they can activate you to respond, immediately because you're there, while the team, the actual team, are, moving from like Guam or Hawaii or whatever to here. So locally, we can move now while we're waiting for them to arrive, and they're actually called the Community Emergency Response Team. So think that this thing should all come together, you know what I mean, to include the the CERT. It's part of FEMA's preparedness community program. The CERT, CERTS.
So you have a recommendation, Rep. Valdan, to
Yeah, if we
include
can insert that name to have individuals with certain skill set, like retirees, you know what I mean, like medical retirees, firefighter retirees, military with experience and, training to respond to natural man-made disasters, while federal government assistance and personnel are, coming in.
this is based off of civilian volunteer capacity, right?
Right,
So there's no need for paying or stipends or anything like that.
right.
Okay.
And that way the people will know we got somebody in the community that actually, can actually do these things. You know what I mean?
That's a good recommendation.
Yeah.
Nick, Council, have you keeping track of that? I don't know what would be the language for that. If we decide to move forward with this legislation, I did take note of Rep. Sablan's also his concern, so it does show that we might have to also add a provision in there. But if we
Yeah.
do add those provisions and we do come up with a draft for an amendment,
Right.
that would be, if you guys want that out, if you want this legislation out today with those amendments, we will need our council to give time for our council and. So do you want to table this and have them maybe work on it, or?
Yeah. The, also, Nate, like so Tagini, right? To be on the CERT list, you need to be at least 18 years old, pass a background check, and be physically conditioned to complete the training of whatever. So the way this thing works, right? They would usually have like training, right? And like what we did, see, like what we would do is we would get activated, for training, but it's kind of like a surprise, so you will receive a call or an alert, on your phone that you're activated, and then they'll designate a rally point for all the volunteers to get there, you know. And let's say, for example, if it's fire department, that you know you go to Garapan, no, and you're going to assist, you know, the active firefighters, you know what I mean, and then while they're mobilizing, you're the one that's you know, taking care of the home base, you know. But the able body, the young, you know, and whatnot, and still have it. They would go out and, you know, with the fire truck and the ambulance, and they'll assist on the field. You know what I mean?
The cert would give them a ability to be able to ride along and
Right.
yeah, because I know what you're kind of trying to allude to is if they're not certified, they're not allowed to be
Right.
accompanying them. Yeah.
Right. You cannot do CPR on somebody when
Yeah.
you don't know how to do CPR and you've never been trained to do CPR.
Very good suggestion.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, and then yeah, so they gotta be 18 years old, pass a background check, be physically conditioned, and have you know, prior training. And some of them like requires certification. Tagi, for example, CPR. You know what I mean? Handling no hazardous material. You know what I mean? So you cannot just be a volunteer. You know what I mean? You have to have certain training and certain certification to be able to respond to that kind of natural or man-made disaster. No?
Excellent recommendation, Rep. Odon. I have a question for the council. Council, by adding that provision into the bill, I don't know. Do you think we need to have a separate bill, or can we write this legislation? Can we put a rider on this, or is it going to be a out of subject?
If the idea is to include retirees and with appropriate backgrounds, with those recommendations, background check, 18 years old, maybe we can write in this bill, but I'm trying to look whether it should be a new section or.
I think it would be a new section. Yeah. And remember, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be a retiree. You know what I mean? So you could be like a certified firefighter, but then you decide that you want to start teaching. You know what I mean? But you got the training, you went to the academy, you passed everything. You know what I mean? So, and you still, you know, you still have passion for that, but your number one passion is to teach. You know what I mean? So when an emergency happens, you go. You know, because at least you're keeping up with your certification and training. Yeah.
Thank you, Rep. Odon. So council will give you guys time. We'll probably table this legislation, and can you also incorporate Rep. Sablon's Nick? Also, if you guys can work with the council to incorporate Rep. Sablon's recommendation, and I believe that's promulgation of rules and regulations given to defense. And this is during cases of natural disaster, right? Rep. Sablon.
If you read the comments of the commissioner himself, he actually added asks if the legislation can be improved by allowing them rule-making authority. And I don't see it through the original bill, so I'm not too sure if the Senate, under its Senate Draft 1, did not include that. And maybe this is something that we should include because of subsection 806 that spoke about all these reservists must abide and are subject to all the lawful rules and regulations that are promulgated, right? So I'm not too sure if that's in place already, but it wouldn't hurt to insert extra provision to give them that authority so that if there's a need to promulgate further rules to govern the reservists, then it's not something that shouldn't harm the proposed legislation. Thank you.
So we give that authority to the CNMI Defense Commissioner?
Why not, you know, them and or the, you know, a Homeland Security or Emergency Operations Center?
Actually, even with that, like, if I may, the Homeland Security CERT, they do train and have them ready and are certified.
Right.
Or then
Sa,
they have a database of all readily available volunteers to
right.
deploy.
And part of their system, I remember talking with former no Homeland Security no si former Congressman no Babautan you know, that they were trying to install a communication system where if they call 911, not only does it go to the police station, the fire department, whoever, you know, but it goes to all of them, but then it's centralized at the emergency operations center. You know what I mean? So that they can see what's really going on while everybody, you know, they're not trying to be out there on the field. They just want to make sure na everybody is be able to listen into what's going on, and if something is getting out of hand, they can start mobilizing the, you know, the reserves,
The ready on standby.
right? The volunteers, yeah.
I mean, if there is that connection from Homeland down to defense, right? Because we have to be mindful that the proposed resolution spoke about, even in the title, about defense and also the ARF, Ports Authority, right? So if that's the arm that's gonna funnel down, and if we're gonna give that promulgating rule making authority, then I'm okay. But I just think that the concern of the Commission of Fire and Department has a good point that, you know, they should be given that rule-making authority if there's any need to amend and promulgate rules down the road, right? We have it there already, instead of forcing the legislature to go back to the legislature to allow them to do it, right? We're just giving that authority through this proposed resolution.
I agree with you, Rep. Sabran. That is true. Members, with that said,
I have a question.
recognize Madam Clerk.
And maybe this is for council. Council, DPS, are they allowed, like New York has a dual program that public safety officers also have the flexibility to also gain accreditation and credentials that are also DFEMS appropriate. So they can have two things happening at once. They can be a public safety officer with the credentials needed to be a DPS officer, but also have as a backup, or not a backup, but to, in case of these types of incidences, whether you have a shortage or overage, that they can also partake and have dual responsibility?
It's durable because Rhoda is doing it. There's an officer that went to a fire academy and a police academy. So he's wearing two badges, fire and
Oh,
so
really?
he's doing. So he becomes a fireman. If there's shortage of fire department, he works there. Shortage of police, he works there. I forget his name, but I seen that in Rhoda.
So assuming that there is an accident, right? DPS has its own job, and then EMS has its own job. Does the same apply for Saipan? So do the Saipan officers wait for EMS to come?
Actually, now I think the officers are trained to as a first responder. They can actually respond to critical, and then that's when the other agencies are more
Okay.
trained.
Okay.
But all the officers are trained to as responder just to
So does the
safety.
so does CNMI DPS have that option as well?
I
to
think
have the
so
two
because they can do it here, but since we have the manpower here, the responsibility is separate police and fire. But in Rhoda, the manpower is shortage, so they make the people do work.
Okay,
The
all right,
size.
thank you. That's good to know. Thank you, Rep. Flores. Oh, sorry, I yield.
Thank you, and thank you for that information. I did not know that myself. Yeah. Anyways, with that mentioned, members, so we give more time to our council and our LA to incorporate these amendments. We're on live. We're on our meeting. No, actually, we're gonna table and then come back to it on our next committee meeting. All right, thank you, members. So there's a motion to table Senate Bill 24-05, pending forthcoming amendments. And it has been, is there a second?
Second.
It has been seconded. All those in favor of the motion to table Senate Bill 24-05, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Senate Bill 24-05 is hereby tabled for further amendments. Thank you, members. Next order of business, we have Senate Bill 24-13, Senate Draft 1, to enact a whistleblower protection provision for Commonwealth government and autonomous agency employees reporting on prohibited personnel practices, to provide whistleblower rewards for individuals who report underpayments of taxes, to clarify the mechanism for the payment of rewards for disclosures leading to the recovery of public funds, and for other purposes. Members, before we get into discussion, can we just go into a short recess? Okay, short recess. We are back into our committee meeting. We left off on Senate Bill 24-13, Senate Draft 1. And based on our discussions during our recess, several important points were made and were recommended. I'll give the floor to Rep. Sablan. Maybe you could further explain.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And although I don't disagree with the intent of the proposed legislation, the only concern I have is the provision under page 9, which obligate the Division of Revenue and Tax the authority to pay these rewards. And it is based on whatever sum appropriated in the given fiscal year. So I am requesting that if we can solicit comments from the Division of Revenue and Tax and get their comments if this is something that they can create a mechanism to provide these rewards as proposed by this proposed legislation. Thank you.
Thank you, Rep. Sablan. And I also, during our research, our Vice Chairman also made mention that we would solicit comments from the Office of the Public Auditor as they would be affected from this piece of legislation. So with that recommendation set, can we get a motion to table Senate Bill 2413, Senate Draft 1, and the committee will reach out to the Office of Public Auditor and the Division of Tax and Revenue for comments. There's a motion to table Senate Bill 2413, Senate Draft 1, and the committee will reach out for comments from the Office of Public Auditor and the Division of Tax and Revenue. That motion has been seconded. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Senate Bill 2413 Senate Draft 1 is hereby tabled. Thank you, members. And the next under order of business, we have Senate Bill 24-24 to authorize the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands to join Sinamay Guam Interjurisdictional Corrections Compact to improve and expand inmate rehabilitation and training and for other purposes. And the floor is open for discussion. Recognize Rep. Sablan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Under this proposed legislation, Senate Bill 24-24, if the committee can get the assistance of our fiscal analyst on the cost benefit on this kind of training, if we were to inter-train with other jurisdiction, what that cost would be very helpful for this August body to make sound decision. Thank you.
Rep. Sablan, so you're recommending that that would recommend some time if we were to work with our fiscal analyst for that. So you're recommending for tabling.
Yeah, I recommend that we table and we allow our fiscal analyst to reach out to the Department of Correction and kind of figure out what would be the cost benefit of this proposed legislation with regards to the inter-jurisdiction training with other jurisdictions. Thank you. Move.
Thank you, Rep. Sablan. There's any second? There is a motion to table Senate Bill 24-24 to reach out to Rep. Sablan. My apologies. Can you repeat? Who did you want?
If we can have our fiscal analysts reach out to the prospective agencies such as Department of Corrections that will be greatly impacted by this proposed legislation with regards to interjurisdictional correction compact within the Sinamay and Guam, what would that training interjurisdiction would cost the Commonwealth? That's something that this August body would like to know, and so that we can make bold and sound decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Rep. Sablan. I do want to make mention before we move forward with the motion that my office did reach out to the Department of Corrections on this. We just did not receive the comments yet, but we will follow up on that request. And with that said, there's a motion to table Senate Bill 24-24, and it has been seconded. All those in favor of that motion say aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Senate Bill 24-24 is hereby tabled. Thank you, members. And then, as I made mention, if you can see under your amended agenda, members, Senate Bill 24-40 and the next item 16, Senate Bill 2448 has been moved to new business. So we will begin with that under our next order of business under item 5, new business. We are now under discussion on Senate Bill 2440 to amend 9 CMC sections 3114 by requiring the Department of Public Safety's rules and regulations regarding commercial vehicles be consistent with those of the United States Department of Transportation's Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration and for other purposes. The floor is now open for discussion, and I recognize Floor Leader, Madam Floor Leader.
Thank you, Chairman. And, this is one of those bills that have been in the committee for a while. And while I agree that the author recommends to amend 9 CMC sections 3114 by requiring the Department of Public Safety's rules and regulations regarding commercial vehicles be consistent with those of the United States Department of Transportation Motor Vehicle Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration and for other purposes. Well, I think that intent is good, and I support it to a certain degree because I would really like to see more language put in here, because what I'm not seeing here is on 49 USC, Title 49 of the United States Code Federal Regulations, which he does state in sections 3114 on the rules and regulation, it doesn't tell us exactly which subsection of the Federal Highway Code he's talking about. And the reason why I'm bringing that up now is because we have motor vehicles such as what they call these tuk-tuk vehicles now that are on the federal highway. And then we also have ATVs that, and golf carts with this, and the other electric motorcycle or mopeds that are also out on the public highway. And I don't know if those have been regulated. My concern here is the inclusion of that also as a definition and insurance, so that we can comprehensively say we are now, as a state, saying that we are taking responsibility on the definitions of certain vehicles, including electric mopeds, because they have motorcycles, but we don't have electric motor scooter or electric scooters. So I'd like to see more definition and the tuk-tuk truck, I don't know what the what is it? The right-handed vehicles, it's not in here either. Right? And then these ATVs now. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because you can see this high congestion of cars that are being sold by legitimate dealerships. But gas is really expensive, and this gas is going to continue to go high. I don't think the government should take a position as to what types of vehicles a person should purchase or use. So I think that including more flexibility and adding more types of that should be included. And then it doesn't talk about insurance here for some reason, and I don't know, maybe that might be two section, but on the federal highway and the subsection that the author is talking about, that's inclusive of the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. And then he talks about subsection 49, but there's different subsections to that. And then there's also other sections that state that the local government has the autonomy to design its own safety measures and whatever compliance laws in terms of insurance, travel, what road, what to carry. So that's just my thing. Like, I think it's great. I just think that we can work on this a little bit more and include, the ATVs. We can include the electronic motor vehicle. We can include, even electronic cars are not even in here. Maybe it just needs to be up to date, or maybe I'm reading it wrong. But insurance is also a problem because I don't even know if insurance these cars could be insured, like these tuk-tuk cars. Are they?
Yes, the tuk-tuk cars, but not the.
Madam Floor,
Can
if
I
may?
call a short recess then?
Yes, yes, short recess.
Chair.
we're back into our committee meeting. We left off under Senate Bill 24-40. We left off under discussion. And maybe I'll give the floor over to our Vice Chairman to explain if we're to take our reason for tabling.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think there's good good concerns that were brought up by floor leader that would actually strengthen this legislation. So I know that we're going to table it. We'll move to table it, provided that we're going to get additional comments from the Department of Public Safety's Highway Transportation section, so that we can possibly add more definitions or more types of vehicles to make sure that it's very clear. So should there's any future additives on the federal side, it would reflect the same on my side as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. So our Vice is making a recommendation to table Senate Bill 24-40, and the committee will reach out to the Department of Public Safety's Motor Carrier Division and Highway Transfer Section for further comments. And with that said, the motion has been seconded. All those in favor to table Senate Bill 24-40, say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Senate Bill 24-40 is hereby tabled to gather further comments. Thank you, members. Next, under our order of business, we have Senate Bill 24-48 to establish a Division of Customs and Biosecurity within the Department of Finance for the purposes of enforcing all laws at the ports of entry, and that is responsible for the inspection and clearance of containers, cargo, baggage related to customs and biosecurity at the ports of entry, and other matters related to border security. The floor is now open for discussion. Recognize Representative Sablan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do want to state that I support the proposed legislation. I did have the opportunity under the Committee on Ways and Means to call in the folks from the Customs and Biosecurity to get their feedback on the proposed legislation. I know that before us there is also a comment provided by the Department of Finance Division of Customs in full support, although this proposed legislation is actually just trying to lift up the executive order right now, which stands right now, that merges the Division of Customs and Biosecurity, and having to support this proposed legislation would further support the executive order and have it statutory. There are some concerns that we brought up when we met with the folks from Customs and Biosecurity with regards to USDA programs and authority based on the goods that are coming in our way. And as you know, it fluctuates. It always changes. USDA, whenever there's an outbreak on other countries, goods from other countries that have outbreaks are being banned in the United States, and those are the kind of concerns that we brought up. How can the biosecurity, Customs and Biosecurity strengthen their relationship with USDA? And we were told that that's in the works. They're working with the U.S. Federal USDA authority, and they're hopeful that there will be a MOU or MOA officially formulated in the near future. So I just want to state my full support for this proposed legislation. Thank you.
Thank you, Rep. Sablan. And I do want to make mention also that Senate Bill 24-48, and I thank you for taking the lead on that, Chairman. And this bill is actually been referred to JGO and your committee, your respective committee. So thank you for taking the lead on that. And with that said, I mean, if we pass it in this committee, I guess it goes before you. I'm not sure.
If we didn't take action on the Committee on Ways and Means, but if this committee under the JGO would make a motion to adopt the committee report, I would just perhaps just table it in the Committee on Ways and Means.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. And recognize Madam Floor Leader.
Can I have a recess, please?
Short recess. we are back into our committee meeting, and we left off we had a discussion we're still under discussion for Senate Bill 2448, and the floor is still open. Okay, is this a motion, are we getting a motion for an adoption, for passage on our? There is a motion to adopt a committee report for the passage of Senate Bill 2448, and it has been seconded. All those in favor of that motion say aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Senate Bill 2448 is hereby adopted by the committee to furnish a committee report for the court's passage. Thank you, members. And in our last item under agenda, under new business, we have House Bill 24-102 to amend the Fire Safety Code to apply the International Fire Code as the guiding standard in the Commonwealth. Before I open the floor, members, the author of the bill, I saw him earlier, but he's not here right now. But that's Rep. Elias Rangamore is the author. So, discussion. Recognized Vice Speaker or
Thank
Acting
you.
Speaker.
Thank you, Chair. Is this a reintroduction of a bill that was previously introduced last legislature?
Would you like? We'll short recess. We are back into our committee meeting, and I apologize, members. We had looked at our status table, and we did not recognize that it had been updated a little later. I apologize for that. So that would mean that on House, just to make reference or make mention to the public that are actually following along, that or have seen the agenda, that for the sake of transparency, House Bill 24-102 had actually been passed during our session about 3 sessions ago. So my apologies on that. So that would mean that we have cleared our agenda on all legislations that are before the committee. With that said, I want to thank you all members for your presence here today. And then we will now move down to our next item of our agenda, which is miscellaneous. And the floor is open for any miscellaneous. I recognize Madam Floor Leader.
Actually, never mind, it's an announcement, sorry.
No worries. Okay, so not under miscellaneous, we will now move under. We do not have announcements, so you can go ahead and.
Can we go back?
Yeah, we're back under miscellaneous.
Thank you.
Recognize acting speaker.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for you and this body for, I guess we adopted about 2 or 3 today. I know there's still more pending in this committee, and I do ask everyone to do their due diligence, and if you could, Chair, if we could follow through with meeting with those the stakeholders to address a lot of these bills that were still here, and most of them are sound, just more clarification from the entities that we get more information on. Thank you.
Thank you, acting speaker. And with that, thank you for mentioning that. And with that, under miscellaneous, I just want to briefly review so that we don't forget for the next committee meeting. Briefly review on all the movements on these legislation. So I just want to go over them. House Bill 24-52. We take our good author, or Madam Floor Leader, for 2452 and House Bill 2455. She had asked the committee to table these legislations for further work on the bills. House Bill 24-61, I have notes to request our fiscal analyst to provide an analysis and to get a fiscal impact for our current fiscal budget. House Bill 24-66, we had adopted for its passage. House Bill 24-78, we had tabled to further work on the bill with Rep. Aquino. Senate Bill 24-05, we were tabled to incorporate a recommended provisions that was requested by Rep. Sablan. And I believe our council and our House Legislative Assistant are aware of that. Senate Bill 24-13, Senate Draft 1, we were to solicit comments from OPA and the Division of Revenue and Taxation. Senate Bill 24-24, have our fiscal analysts reach out to the Department of Corrections for comment and for a fiscal analyst or fiscal impact. Senate Bill 24-40 were requested to reach out, get comments from the DPS Motor Carrier Division and Highway Transfer Section. And members, just please correct me or just raise your hand if I missed anything, please. Senate Bill 24-48. I believe we were requested to reach out to Mr. Nick, can you? I don't know if I missed my notation. 2448. Adopted for passage, right? Okay, 2448. We adopted for a committee report for its passage, and that leaves everything clear. Is that correct, members? Okay, I just want to make any further mistakes that Rep. Sablan might eagerly wants to point out. Thank you. Okay, with that, under miscellaneous, is there any more? Recognize Madam Floor Leader.
Thank you, Chairman. I know you don't have an announcement portion on the agenda, but just for this body to know that, the directive from the governor was out yesterday in regard to the austerity. And while reading that directive, he does mention civil service and accepted service. And I'm quite concerned because there are agencies that are basically almost 100% civil service. that the Constitution does state as a safeguard, no, as a right for the Commonwealth. And with that being said, my office has reached out to OPM, Civil Service Commission, and DPS. And I will, if I'm inviting you guys, you're more than welcome to come once we get that meeting confirmed, just for some clarity and also for any kind of information that the chairman would like to gather in terms of prepping for the FY 2027 budget. So my whole thing was that there's some issues with DPS right now, and I think under this committee, and someone had reached out to me, I felt like I needed to set the meeting, and I'm inviting members of this body and anyone else who is interested. I'll put it out, and once we can confirm that, I'll let you know for your indulgence. Thank you.
Thank you for that information, Madam Floor Leader. The floor is still open under miscellaneous. Recognized Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman. And just in line of what the floor leader had mentioned in regards to the directive that came out, I think there's got to be letters that have to come out. It cannot be just a directive. We're going to repeat something that happened last year when we did the cuts, and then the employees were told not to come to work, and essentially what happens is we have to pay them for those days that they miss the work day, or were given, or was supposedly an austerity day. But I think that they should, the director should be much clearer, so that the Civil Service Commission can do its due diligence in providing the notifications to the civil service employees, as well as other government agencies and departments that need to notify the exempted service employees, because we all know that there's a difference. I think it's 15 days or 10 or 15 days, and then exempted employees, I believe it's 30 days notification in regards to the change of work hours. I just want to make that clear, and just to piggyback on Rep. Flores' concern that she had brought up. And to close on a lighter note, I know that our kids will be leaving, I think, early tomorrow morning to South Korea for the tournament for Little League and Junior League, and we'd like to extend the appreciation to our chairman, John Poe, and the delegation, along with the SNIOD members, for their support in getting monies to assist them in this tournament. And we wish them the best of luck and safe travels on their journey. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. Any more miscellaneous? Rep. Flores, or you giving me the eye? Team Sufa. Would you like to stay down under miscellaneous? All right, members. Thank you. Just before we close out under adjournment, I just once again want to thank our LB staff. Thank you so much for all your hard work. And members, thank you for your presence this morning. Now, under our next order of business, we are under item 7, adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn? There's a motion to adjourn, and it has been seconded. All those in favor to adjourn, say aye. All those opposed, stay. Okay, motion carries. Thank you, members.